going to try something a little different today. This is Miles and Justin from Magic Developed, as well as myself from Magic Developed. This is going to be more of a live podcast feel to it, so if you like it, let us know. But today we're going to go through the 2022 season, and as you can see behind us, the 72 car is a little bit different, so we'll touch on that as well. So Justin, thoughts on the 2022 season?
Yeah, 2022 was a pretty big year for Magic Developed. I mean, obviously we got going with a lot more serious on the media side. Magic Developed has been around since 2018. We started with one Spec Miata in 2018, and now we're looking at 2023 with a total of 6 Spec Miatas, the 2 BMWs, and a Miata that isn't spec that I think we'll touch on later as well with some of the 2023 plans. 2022, though, in particular, a couple podiums with Tomas this year in Spec Miata, which was a very good feature for him for his first year with Magic Developed. The BMWs, the 72 and the 73 car, Larry with the 72 did quite well at Nationals, second place at Laguna's NASA Championships. I ended up winning TT5 at Championships, and Tony in the 73 car ended up finishing first in TT5 and ST5 for NASA NorCal points championship. And then we went to the 25 hour, finished first and second in class, had a great race-long battle with Palomar, and ended up finishing second and fifth overall at the 25. So there's not really much for us to complain about in 2022, and it has laid the stage for us to be really serious for 2023.
To touch on the 25 hour, Miles, you had a very particular vantage point from there. For everyone who doesn't know, Miles is our spotter for the 73 car, so he has a bird's eye view of the entire race. What was it like up there? Because I'm only on the deck, so I only see kind of what's in front of me.
Yeah, you get, being up in turn one where we were spotting, you get much of how the track is as far as weather conditions affecting the track, if there's dirt or debris on any part of the track, as well as all the cars circulating. If there's cars broken down in areas, we can let the drivers know. And
Yeah, so the spotting's super important. On the 72 car, it's broken up between myself and Ken Brightwell. Ken will cover about half the track, and then from I think turn 6 through 8, I kind of take over a little bit, because that's a blind spot for you guys up there, right?
Correct. So we can see the cars going into 8, and then we see the cars again exiting turn 9.
Yeah, so the way the radio communication usually lays out, we have a separate crew chief for the 73 car. Dylan was crew chief on the 72. But actually, a majority of the time, it is the spotters that are doing 90% of the communication with the car. The crew chiefs only really do the communication if it is somewhere the spotters can't see, and if it's something pertaining to the car specifically, either like a pit stop that's about to happen, or a general update on how the driver's feeling, if we can go ahead and do them on a double stint, or if we're going to pull them out at that time. But most of the time, it's the spotters that are actually doing the communications with the cars.
Was there any anything different with this year's 25? I know we had to do a motor swap on Friday, which set us back a little bit. That took the majority of the day. The spare motor wasn't prepped to the same level as the motor we pulled out. But was there anything else?
The motor was a big one. I guess the harder part was the weather, because it was really, going into it, we were really watching the weather. It said it was going to rain cats and dogs, so we had a provision for that. It said then it was going to be dry, and we had a provision for that. And then it ended up being neither of them, and just kind of this general wet, damp, muddy condition that wasn't really ideal at all. Made strategy hard, because it was kind of like you put the car out there and nothing you can do in terms of a race engineer would allow you to give the driver confidence and grip. I mean, didn't matter what tires we put them on, it wasn't going to work.
And we'll touch on this a little bit later, but I think Palomar was on grooved RRs.
Yep, yeah, there was a late rule change because of the mixed conditions and not enough people having mixed condition or wet weather racing tires, that they did allow tire grooving. I think it was like on Thursday or Friday, because we were still doing the motor swap, that they made the announcement that tire grooving would be legal.
And then we were on Maxxis VR1s for the entire race, and we'll definitely touch on that in a bit. But 2023 plans for the entire shop.
I think we'll do a couple more announcement videos of that. We do have the 5 Spec Miatas that'll be racing the whole NASA NorCal season. We do have the 1 time trial TT6 Miata. He'll be there. We have a pretty big shakedown on a pretty fun car that isn't really built to any kind of class rules. It's not unlimited. It's just a really fun track toy that's one of the Spec Miata's customers' cars. I think that would be a good one for a full feature because it's definitely not the norm in terms of a race car. We have 1 vehicle going to a completely different race organization, and we'll touch on that one as well. And we are looking at taking Grid Life pretty seriously at the end of the year. Grid Life's a pretty popular series out in the Midwest. They are making the trip out here to the West Coast, to Laguna. And I think we're going to be bringing 3 race cars, a bunch of track cars, going out there to have an absolute blast. It's something that's been on our list for the last 2 to 3 years, and we haven't really been able to get all the way out to Ohio, Mid-Ohio or Gingerman to try to do it. But when they announced that they were coming out here, we all circled the weekend and kind of made that the priority for this year.
And I guess to touch on the elephant in the room, the 72 car is now a Maxxis sponsored vehicle for the 2023. And that came about because of us running on the VR1 throughout the 25 hours of Thunder Hill. So this car actually did it on 2 sets of tires, which is pretty amazing. The VR1 isn't known to be the fastest tire of the 200 treadwear range. It's more of the best all-rounder, in our opinion. Drivers had great feedback on it.
We ended up getting the VR1s because it was a tire that we felt could handle dry and wet. So like a particular part about the 25 hour is in the rule sets for the production cars, we can only change 1 tire on the pit road during a pit stop. That is actually a mandated rule to help bring the cost down, not have professional pit crew teams, not have, crazy ways of trying to change 4 tires in a pit stop. We're not NASCAR. We are definitely it is the most professional club level race probably in America, but we do still need to reel some things in. So the only way to change 4 tires is to go behind the pit wall back to your pit area, change the 4 tires, and come back out. So we found it to be a better use of time to find a tire that would work in say it dried up for 30 minutes and then some light rain came for 30 minutes. Usually our pit stops were an hour and 15 to an hour and 30 minutes. And we needed a tire that could be able to handle all those conditions without having to come in after 30 minutes to put wets back on, and then the track's drying out and come in 30 minutes to then put the dry tires back on. We just need something that did all of it. And the Maxxis VR1 did handle that exceptionally well. Like you said, 2 sets on this car for the entire race of just anything and everything. We had full wet, we had full dry at the end, we had anything in between of mud, dirt, slip track, oil, cold. Yeah, 29 degrees, I think is what it got down to last year.
Around there, yeah.
So, yeah, we ended up running that tire. We're really happy with it. Maxxis ended up reaching out. We told them what we did and how we did. And one deal came to another, and 72 car is going to be running Maxxis RC1 and VR1s for the entire year in NASA WERC and ST5 TT5. The 73 car also did run Maxxis in the 25-hour car. That car is going to a different organization next year, so we'll have a different video for that one. But yeah, great deal, and we're happy to work with Maxxis.
And what does a sponsorship like this mean to you and obviously Larry, who's the owner of the 72 car?
It's a big deal. I mean, it's, like I said, you got to remember we started in 2018 with 1 Spec Miata, and spec classes are a little hard to garner sponsorships from. We built this car in 2017. Kind of ran it off and on. It kind of ran more under the Morewood Creative banner until we did the big update on the car in 2020. There was no racing in 2020, but we took the time to do a very big update on this car. Basically stripped the car all the way down to a shell and rebuilt it for the rules class. So after that, it kind of came under the Magic Developed banner, and we've been able to prove that we can develop and build reliable and fast race cars to the point now where we are getting attention and sponsorships from manufacturers. And that's, I'll take that as a really big deal for us. I mean, we haven't had that before, so.
Yes, that's huge news, and stay tuned and hang out with us throughout the season. We'll be doing vloggy type stuff, some probably more of this podcasty, live podcast stuff as we announce what the other cars in the stable are doing. Lots of cool builds, lots of cool tips and tricks we'll be sharing through track day weekends, how we do track days, and probably a little bit of how we do things to the cars to make them really perform really well. So if you like this, let us know. If not, let us know too. Bye.